You guys have been hearing me talk about this for years.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy of the department trying to protect killer whales, but you're still allowed to use it as a live firing range.
Yeah.
But a guy in his 12-foot boat can't go and fish in this area. And like, you know, I think we're just frustrated. Like a lot of us are at the end of our lines here. A lot of people are fighting for their jobs, their passions. Like, if you want to protect the killer whales, let's come up with some really good, work with First Nations. Trans Mountain Pipeline funding for a lot of the nations that have developed marine programs is coming to an end March 31st. And they don't have funding to keep their employees going. I've been talking about this for a long time. We need a plan to keep those Guardian programs going. We want to do marine mammal observations, give those reports to the shipping industry, Department of National Defense, DFO Science. Those are good reasons to support Guardians and First Nation programs, and they can be the warning signs out there to the local sport fishing fleet, and we're all friends out there. You know, I share an office space with the maintenance guy for Sioux Nation. His friends are non-Indigenous, and they like to go fishing together. And it's awkward when the conservation officers go up to their boat, non-Indigenous and Indigenous on the same boat, fishing in these areas. And, one guy can keep a fish and one guy can't. It's awkward. Like, we need to simplify things. We need to get off the highlight color on the maps, and we need to come up with some real strategies.
Yeah.
And create jobs. We need new jobs in coastal communities. And environmental jobs should be supported. In turn, helps recreational fishing and commercial fishing and whale watching and all these things. We need a new plan because this isn't working. And I stand here because I took a new job. Because I don't see a future. And being chased around by rubber boats and, going and looking at these lines, like it's hard out there to know where these lines are. It's just, this isn't working. And we need to really relook at this. If we don't want to handle too many fish, let's go get our first fish or two and go off the water and do another activity with your family. But I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thanks, Rand. Yeah, I mean, first off, I want to say, I certainly hear how important and how consequential this issue is for folks in the room, and lots more who aren't here today. It's a really tough issue. There's no question about it. The kinds of things that threaten this population implicate a lot of different users on the water, and the recreational fishing community is one of them. So it is a tough issue. Where we can pursue partnerships to be collecting data or supporting public awareness, sharing information on the water, that's a good thing. I think we have some good examples of that on this issue, but if we can do more there, that's something we should be pursuing. So certainly open to ideas there. I also know, and we've heard this for a number of years, the challenges that year by year changes to measures pose for folks, right? I mean, it is a lot to try and digest and try to comply with. And so when it's something new each year, that definitely creates, that makes it tougher. I know that part of our interest is to try and bring some stability to the regime we're using to support SRKW recovery. I would say we're having mixed success with that because we are also trying to be responsive to what we learn about, what data and research has been done and what should our measures do in response. And to the extent we can, be responsive to what's happening with the population. And that's easier said than done. Drawing causal links between our measures and SRKW recovery is complicated. There's a lot of factors at play. The last thing I'll say is just sort of reiterating what I said to Mike here, you know, the consideration of impacts is one of the key factors that we try our best to assess. While we have, you know, economic data that can help with that, one of the primary impacts and ways that we can understand what the impacts will be is through the consultation exercise. And so I think, you know, we've heard pretty loud and clear about what some of the options that have been proposed this year might mean for folks on the west side of the island, and that's going to be something that we consider very carefully. So appreciate your comments, and I also appreciate the time that you've invested in this issue over the last number of years. You and a number of others here, I mean, Pat's sitting right beside you. You guys have been in a lot of meetings on this topic for probably 6 or 7 years now. So it's a lot of time invested, and really appreciate the commitment that you've shown to it.